Storytime from Reddit. One of those posts that make you pause and think. A story about love, mistakes, and something different. So here goes. My life told without filters. You ever look at your life and think, yeah, I've got it all figured out? Yeah, that was me. My name is Ethan. I'm 30. I live in Chicago. I work in tech. Pretty normal. And my girlfriend, Vanessa. She was, well, kind of perfect. The kind of woman who turns heads the second she walks into a room. Confident, stylish, smart. She ran her own design studio downtown, always dressed like she was walking into a Vogue shoot. You'd look at us and think, power couple. And for a while, like we were. Everyone told us we were perfect. Perfect jobs. Perfect apartment. Perfect photos. Instagram loved us, but inside, it was different. Vanessa kept asking for more. More attention, more passion, more of me. And I was slowly disappearing into work, into stress, into nothing. She'd talk and I'd zone out. Not because I didn't care, but because I just didn't feel like me anymore. One night she looked at me and said, "Do you even love me still, Ethan? Or are you just here?" And I couldn't answer her. Not really. I did love her. But something between us had cracked. A couple weeks later, I went out to Plainfield. Small town, quiet, trees everywhere. My uncle needed help fixing his porch. I needed air. So I went. And that's where I met her. Riley. She worked at this little roadside diner, wore a flannel shirt, no makeup, just freckles and a tired ponytail. But she smiled at me like she actually saw me. "You look like someone who drinks coffee like it's therapy," she said. I laughed. Like, actually laughed. Not the fake smile I'd been giving people for months. She poured me a cup, made a dumb joke about the weather, and I stayed. Longer than I meant to. Told myself it was nothing, just a friendly girl from a quiet town. But I went back the next day, and the day after that. Riley talked like someone who didn't have walls up. She laughed too loud, said whatever came to mind, and looked me in the eyes when she spoke. With her, I felt human again. When my work at my uncle's was done, I should have gone straight back to Chicago. Instead, I drove back to the diner, just for a coffee. Or at least that's what I told myself. I didn't kiss her. Not that time. But I thought about it. And that was enough to scare the hell out of me. Because deep down, I knew something inside me had already changed. I tried to convince myself it was just a phase. That I was just tired. That I didn't love Riley. I was just escaping. But every time I went back to Chicago, I felt like I was cheating on myself. And every time I went back to Plainfield, I felt free. I knew it was wrong. I knew I was lying. To Vanessa. To Riley. To myself. Vanessa noticed. Of course she did. She stopped trying to connect. Stopped asking questions. Until one day she just looked at me and said, "Are you sleeping with someone?" I didn't answer. And that was worse than saying yes. A week later, she found everything. The texts, the photos, the Airbnb receipt for that weekend. I told her I was visiting a friend. She lost it. Screaming, throwing stuff, crying. Then she disappeared for a whole day. When she came back, she didn't yell, didn't cry. She just said, "If you love her, go. If you don't, then stop lying to me." But I need to know everything, so I told her. All of it. How I met Riley, how it started, how I didn't plan it. I thought that would be the end, that she'd walk out. And honestly, I would have deserved it. But she didn't. We didn't break up. We didn't fix things either. We just lived together, but distant. And then something happened that changed everything. Riley texted me, I want to come to Chicago. I want to see who you are in your real life. I don't want to be a secret anymore. I knew I couldn't live this lie anymore. So I did something crazy. I asked them to meet, both of them, at the same time. Vanessa thought I was out of my mind. Riley almost didn't show up. But they came. Riley in jeans and a nervous smile. Vanessa in her usual designer armor, cold eyes. They hated each other instantly. And yet they both loved me. They argued. They cried. Then I said the only honest thing I could. I can't choose. I won't. But if either of you don't want this, I'll walk away from both. Silence. Then Riley said, what if we try? Vanessa looked at her like she was insane. You serious? I don't know, but I'm tired of hurting. Maybe it's better to understand what we're sharing, and that's how it started. Our weird, complicated three-way something. It wasn't easy, but it was real. And for the first time in months, I didn't feel alone. Living with both of them was strange at first. We didn't call it anything. It wasn't a relationship exactly. More like three people trying to make something make sense. Vanessa kept her walls up. Riley tried too hard to break them. And me? I just floated in the middle, trying not to screw it all up. But there were moments when it worked. Like the night we all watched a movie, sitting way too close on the couch, or when we cooked dinner together and ended up throwing flour at each other like kids. Little things, silly things. And then came that night. We didn't plan it. We didn't even talk about it. It just happened. I'd gotten home late from work. The apartment was quiet. Lights were low. I walked into the bedroom, and there they were. Both of them. Together. Not talking, not fighting, touching, laughing, completely caught up in each other. They saw me. Paused. And then Riley held out her hand. No words. Just that look. And I stepped forward. The rest? Well, it wasn't wild or dramatic. It was slow. Gentle. Honest. The kind of moment that doesn't need a soundtrack. Just breathing. Skin. Trust. We didn't say much. Didn't need to. That night, we weren't trying to fix anything. We were just together. When I woke up the next morning, both of them were already up, wrapped in blankets, drinking coffee on the balcony like nothing had happened. I stepped out, still processing. Vanessa looked at me and smirked. Logically, sleep okay? I just laughed. That day, everything felt lighter. But then, 3 days later, Riley disappeared. I didn't think it would fall apart so fast. Vanessa left. No screaming, no fight. Just one suitcase and a note. I love you, but I don't know who I am with you anymore. That morning, everything felt cold. Empty, like a show had ended and I missed the final scene. 2 days later, Riley texted me, Hey, I'm in the city. Can I stop by? I stared at the screen for 10 minutes. I didn't answer. Not because I didn't want to see her, but because I didn't know what to do with any of this. And like any person hurt and confused, I shut down. She rang the doorbell. I didn't open, so she walked away. That night, she ended up in a bar not far from my place. She sat alone. 1 drink, then 2. She wasn't the type to drown in whiskey. But that night, she just needed something to make the world stop spinning. Across the bar, Vanessa walked in. They didn't know each other. Never seen each other before. Just 2 strangers, both lost, both looking for something. They ended up side by side. 2 women, 1 city, 1 man. No idea. They ordered shots. Then another round. And like it happens with just the right amount of alcohol and hurt, they started talking. First about exes. Then about disappointment. Then about a guy they both knew but didn't know they both knew. They laughed a lot. And when the bar closed, Riley said, "Want to crash at my place?" Vanessa said, "Yeah, why not?" They stumbled back to Riley's apartment, kicked off their shoes, put on music, opened more wine. At some point, one laid a hand on the other's thigh. Neither pulled away. They kissed, and then they kept kissing. It wasn't wild, it wasn't planned, just raw, software curious, honest. Meanwhile, I was pacing my apartment, panicking, regretting. Stupid, stupid, stupid. I jumped in the car. I had to say something. Anything. When I got to Riley's place, I rang the bell. No answer. Door was unlocked. I walked in, and there they were, on the couch, tangled in each other. Quiet, bare, together. I froze. They turned their heads, saw me. Vanessa grinned. Riley looked calm. "Swing, hey," Riley said. "We were just talking about you." I stepped forward, heart racing. Vanessa sat up, sheets slipping down her shoulder. She smiled like nothing in the world surprised her anymore. Riley held out her hand to me. No judgment, just invitation. And that night, the three of us stopped pretending. We made love. Slow, honest, curious, each of us discovering something in the other. Touches that asked questions. Kisses that answered. Hands that trembled, then held on tighter. It wasn't just sex, it was trust. A moment where nobody had to choose, where no one was left behind. Just connection and warmth, and something beautiful in all its chaos. We didn't try to label it. After that night, things settled. Not in a boring way, in a this might actually work way. We still argued sometimes. Riley left the cabinets open. Vanessa hated crumbs on the counter. I forgot laundry. Constantly. But there was laughter. So much laughter. We took turns making coffee in the morning. Sometimes we all squeezed into one side of the couch. Sometimes Riley would fall asleep on Vanessa's shoulder. Sometimes Vanessa and I would both forget she used to hate sharing. One night, I found them in the kitchen, Riley in one of my shirts, barefoot, dancing to 90s music. Vanessa was laughing, holding a wine glass, trying to keep up. They pulled me in. I stepped on Riley's foot. She yelped. Ended up on the floor, breathless from laughing. That's when I knew. All of it wasn't a mistake. It was messy, it was real, and it was ours. Weeks passed, then months. Vanessa started a blog about life outside the rules. Riley picked up weekend photography. I finally left the job I hated and opened a tiny co-working space in the neighborhood. One warm evening, the three of us were on the rooftop. Sunset, pizza, cheap wine. Riley looked at me and asked, "Did you ever think your life would look like this?" I laughed. Logically, I just wanted someone to love me as I am. Never thought I'd get two. Vanessa raised an eyebrow. "Zerania, we're not that easy to love, you know." Riley leaned in and whispered, "Speak for yourself." We all cracked up. No filters, no faking. Just three people. One home, a strange, beautiful story that no one would ever believe unless they lived it. And I get it. It's not for everyone. It's not a movie. But for us, it's real. And sometimes that's enough.